Hello, neurodiagnostic community. Happy Friday. I'm Scott Moore, CNIM certified neuromonitoring professional, recruiter, and career consultant with Neuro Pathway, and host of the IONM4LIFE neurodiagnostic podcast and YouTube channel.
And I'm Danielle Stewart, your neuromonitoring meme queen.
On behalf of ASNM, your intraoperative neuromonitoring professional society,
happy neurodiagnostic week. Hey, I think we actually almost did a perfect sync.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was 95%, man. That was above industry standards, I guarantee you.
I definitely agree. But thanks for joining us on our 5 days of neurodiagnostic atomic habits during our neurodiagnostics week.
We made it to day 5, the most important day, the big reveal. I just want to say, hey, the small incremental changes we make and the habits we ingrain into our workflows are what lead to improvement and eventual success in our field.
Absolutely. And we made sure to crowdsource this information and get all of our neurodiagnostic atomic habits from your colleagues. And so our last and final, and my personal favorite, and what I think is the most important atomic habit, is self-care. We'll try to kind of loop it back with the rest of the week as well. Ultimately, if you're not taking care of yourself and taking a moment for yourself, everything else is going to go downhill from there. So number one, focus on what you can't control, or you can control, not what you can't control. Where's your mental health? How's your mental health doing? Like, are you stressing out over all the little things, or are you taking a moment to realize, you know what, this is outside of my scope. This is not, my issue. This isn't, focused on me. I'm doing exactly what I need to do every day. And that's, mentally clear. And there's nothing else that I can do outside of my control and what I can do for my, scope of practice. Also, just closing the loop. That also goes back to finishing your charting. So that at the end of the day, you can close that laptop, you're done, the OR's behind you, you're on your way home, you're going to either the gym, you're going to a pottery class, you're going to therapy, whatever your why, most importantly, is what is getting you through that day. And so when you're done in the OR, you can go and focus on yourself, focus on your why, whether it be your kids, whether it be, just to stay mentally active every day.
So I wanted to ask something about closing the loop. When I worked at a hospital up in New York, but next to the time clock, they had this great sign hanging there, and it said, hey, as you're checking out here, here's some things. Here's your checkout checklist, so to speak. And it was like, hey, have you checked on your colleagues to see how they're doing, right? Okay. Have you drank enough water? You're probably dehydrated at this point. Just think briefly about one thing you did really well today. What's one thing you really crushed today? You really helped a patient. You really, pulled someone's bacon out of the fire, one of your colleagues or one of the surgeons, right? You really made a big call that made a game-changing, impact on someone's quality of life coming out of the surgery, right? And they'll tell you, think about one thing that just really kind of got to you today. Okay. Think about it for a second and just leave it here by the time clock. It'll be here tomorrow, so that, as Daniel says, closing the loop and finishing reports and things like that, and just making sure, so that you can unplug. If you're not on call, you can just unplug and you're done. Okay. And then it's all about you and what you need to do and the people that are part of your world, outside of work, and you want to have as much of a support network outside of work as you possibly can. You want to have, go get a massage, go for the therapy, go have some just personal time with your family, whatever it is. But it's this is why we work in the first place. So we can't forget all this.
Absolutely. And definitely, the hydration, make sure you're eating enough through the day, because honestly, I don't know about you, Scott, but for the longest time, I'd be chugging water as soon as I got home. And then I'd be up all night, go to the bathroom, not getting any sleep. So then it was just this endless cycle. So you definitely want to make sure that you're staying hydrated, throughout the day. Make sure you're taking those little snack breaks. But ultimately that you do have something outside the operating room that gives you motivation for the day. For me personally, it's going to the gym and my kids. I make sure Monday through Friday, I take the weekends off because, you gotta have a little break. Monday through Friday, I go to the gym. And I have found that it helps with my mental clarity. It helps me physically. I'm able to lift and help with patients if I need to. I also, de-stress instantly when I'm at the gym. And I think that physical activity really helps. That's like, what was the movie? Legally Blonde, where she's like, when you're exercising, you release endorphins, and happy people just don't kill people. So, ultimately, if you're happy, it's going to vibrate throughout your entire day. It's going to show in the OR as well. And people are going to know that you're there solely to do your job, and that you're going to do a good job no matter what.
Absolutely. And you made a good point about that. I mean, you can be essentially, you can change the dynamic in your workplace. You've seen mornings where things start going right, and one nurse walks in and she's just freaking out because they can't find the headlamp the surgeon likes. Someone else walks in and they got an issue, and all of a sudden it just gets acrimonious and everyone's getting kind of on each other's nerves and stressing out. And one person can walk in and just bring some calm, bring some positivity, bring a little love into the room, and it can just change that flow back in the other direction and just bring the energy and the temperature back down again. You can be that one person, but you can't do that if you're not doing it to yourself first. You take care of yourself first. So it's got to start with you. You are the most important component in neuro monitoring. Okay, oversight physicians are super important, right? The technology is super important, but it doesn't all come together unless it comes together with you walking in the operating room, knowing what you're doing, being prepared to take care of yourself too. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely think too, making sure that you are focusing on that why, because it gives you that outside source. And because we all know
that family member, it's whatever it is, it's like
exactly. And we know that operating room can be very draining. You're sitting in long cases. Things happen, life and death situations, deficits, everything like that. It takes it out on you mentally. So if you don't have a why outside of that, what are you going to be focusing on? Everything that's happened in the operating room. You can't just leave it there. You're just going to, keep thinking about it and stressing about it. And it's ultimately going to take a toll on your body. Not only your mental health, but your physical health will end up suffering as well.
It's all tied together, taking care of yourself, the stress and what stress can do to the body. We all, that's pretty well documented. In my opinion, honestly, if, how best can I put this? The importance of self-care is such that I really think a lot of neurodiagnostic companies, if they're really looking for ways like to just create that kind of like workplace, we hear this all the time. Our neuromonitor company is great because of our people. Well, your neuromonitor company is great because of what you do for your people, because your people, they're great. I'll tell you right now, they're great people in all kind of different neuromonitor companies out there. Okay. You're all great. Okay. But what is a company doing for you? And like we talked about, okay, options for, for therapy, just to be able to have to talk to somebody, options to go to the gym. I mean, if they can create these opportunities for you, not only the time, but even giving the resources of saying, hey, we can get you a discounted gym membership or something like that. That really shows that they are taking care of what's most important to their business model, which is you, right?
Absolutely. And I think that, just a company as a whole, when they're supporting their employees, the employees then in return are more happy to help the company when they need it. If there's a case added on and, whoever's on call is already in a case and they send out a mass text message, people will voluntarily go ahead and take that because they're like, you know what? The company's really helped me out. I've, only worked so many hours this week. They take care of me. I'm going to help take care of them. So ultimately, our success and happiness will affect the company's success and happiness.
That's it. Yeah. And, in my opinion, I mean, you talk about having your work tank and your home tank and your social life tank. I think we all have one big tank and just everyone's draining from it. Everyone's taking, your workplace is taking some of your patience and endurance out and what's left going on at home will take some of that out. You really have one tank. So you got to pour into it and just don't discount the fact that, a lot of it will come out of work every day in healthcare, because that's just how healthcare is. I mean, there's no way around it. It's a high stakes, high intensity, occasionally very stressful work environment.
So if you don't take care of number one, you can't take care of anybody or anything else. So number one comes first, and then that way you can do better with everything else.
That's it. Well said. This has been a fantastic neurodiagnostic week of discussions on behalf of ASNM, IONM4LIFE, and Stick'Em IOM memes. We've been very fortunate to bring you these atomic neurodiagnostic habits crowdsourced from you and your colleagues.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to everybody that contributed and gave us your input. We greatly appreciate it, and we love having this kind of response from you guys. That's, one of the main things that Scott and I are trying to do is build this community up, give us a source of not only communication and laughs, but also, a strong community and ultimately good friendship and mental health.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye. Happy Neurodiagnostics Week.